How many times today did you rely on access to clean water? Take a second to think about it. Count on your fingers, maybe count on your fingers and toes. How far did you walk to get it? Did you have to carry it? Did you let it run while you brush your teeth or wash your hands? Let it warm up to do the dishes or take a shower? Did you at any point think about what happened to that water, where that water came from when you turned on the tap? And then what happened to it once you flushed the toilet? These weren't questions I asked myself before I decided to become an engineer, but I ask them now, and I ask them often. And actually, just about as quickly as I decided to become an engineer, I nearly decided to quit because it was hard, because I didn't understand what being an engineer looked like, because I couldn't see the long-term value with my short-term 18-year-old perspective. Specifically, I wanted to throw in the towel on chemistry and focus on the soft skills I felt would take me abroad to Spanish-speaking countries and through communities I assumed needed my help. I figured I'd pack up my bleeding heart in a backpack and lug it across Latin America. Now, I would go on to do just that, but carrying a lot more than just my bleeding heart in that backpack. A wise man, my father, saw through my young desperation for instant gratification and enforced to me that if I wanted to help others in the way that he knew I wanted to, if I wanted to affect positive change, if I wanted to be the difference, I needed to have a skill, something practical and tangible to offer the communities I so wanted to serve. And that was it for me, the beginning of the rest of my life, as I so simply put it at the time. I didn't quit engineering. I joined Engineers Without Borders here at Marquette as a freshman. I went on my first Engineers Without Borders trip for a water supply project to the Dominican Republic that summer. And when I came back, I began double majoring in Spanish for the health professions. I had found vocation, and I knew that as an 18-year-old, that was above and beyond what my peers felt. But I also understood that the opportunities afforded to me are what made my path to vocation so swift, fierce, and well-supported. When I returned from the Dominican Republic, I felt what many people do at the beginning working in international development: guilt, shame, anger, frustration, limitation. I came back from a community without toilets or taps in their home to my middle-class home in the burbs, and I felt limited? The audacity! But my limitation came from the fact that though I was working on a skill I knew could help, it wouldn't necessarily bring them water overnight. It wouldn't bring necessarily water to their home within the next year. And even with that water, the effects of chronic lack of access to clean drinking water, such as physical and mental stunting and reduced economic prosperity, are long-lasting. 780 million people lack access to an improved drinking water source, and 2.5 billion people lack access to improved sanitation. Of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals established by the United Nations to spread peace and prosperity throughout the world, access to clean drinking water is vital to accomplishing at least 9 of them, and you could quite easily argue all. Solving this massive, devastating global issue is daunting. It seems impossible to think that one person, even one organization, could even make a dent. So maybe that frustration was fair, necessary even. Why aren't we all frustrated by this? Do we blind ourselves to the issues? Are there simply too many causes that it seems impossible to do absolutely anything? And then what a privilege it is to do nothing. To say the news is too bad, too difficult to hear, the issue is too big to solve and seemingly irrelevant to me. That is never a good reason to not do something, and I'm sure you would all agree with me. So now that we're all riled up, we are already digging into the first step towards effecting positive change and fulfilling our responsibility to contribute to our communities. Responsible impact is founded on passion, fueled by talent, enforced by action, and rooted in gratitude. Now, I've told you a little bit about my passion, so let's talk about yours. What is it that riles you up? What ignites that fire inside of you? If you're unsure, it's worth taking some time to figure it out. Some passions are fueled by excitement, by the rush of the outcome. Most are personal, maybe a cause you or a family member have struggled with or suffered from. Maybe something you want to accomplish, perhaps a demographic you want to represent but aren't sure yet how to be included. Maybe an injustice you want to right. And for me, that was it. And the need for change, to take responsibility for my role in fulfilling and ensuring basic human rights to all. But who am I to be so bold to take on that responsibility? Well, I argue, who are we all not to take on that responsibility? If not us, then who? Having attended a Catholic Jesuit university, I think we're all comfortable talking about guilt. Guilt is not lost. Guilt is not lost in this discussion of vocation because, while it can be a powerful driver, it can also be a huge detriment for progress. Turning guilt, which is unproductive, into a passionate call to action is a difficult process. But instead of guilt about what we have that others do not, use it to empower, inform, and build advocacy. So now we have this passion. We've discussed this passion. Spend time on it. Let it guide how you spend your time, and therefore guide what you're good at. The more time you invest in something, the better at it you'll be, as in practice makes perfect. Let that skill fuel your talent and translate it to impact. Invest in education that makes you better and better at what you do so that you can practice your passion the most effectively. Now, this education can be formal, but even more valuable is the informal. It's the experiences that create you, the conversations that enlighten you, and the connections that bring you closer to the origin of that light ignited inside of you. And now the experience itself is not the final form. The post-experience reflection is a true capture of what we learned. Consider what you contributed, how you'll apply it to your life. What comes next to continue building on this strong foundation? We can quite easily move through various experiences without gleaning nothing more than a fuzzy feeling from them. It is the hard work of reflection that has the greatest impact on us. When I was on my first water supply project, I felt so frustrated to need an interpreter. When I so badly wanted to directly connect with the community, I felt I'd missed out on dramatically this connection I craved, but had not yet earned. I knew I needed to learn Spanish so that I could ensure that my engineering skills were being applied to the issues the community members wanted solved the most. I had the resources to learn more, so I used them. I double majored in Spanish. I began interpreting at a local clinic. I studied abroad in Argentina, and I continue interpreting on my engineering trips in Guatemala now. I have made plenty of mistakes along the way, but I never turned down an opportunity I felt would make me better. Now, if you don't have access to something formal, find a community that can help you. In our global connected society, access to information and each other has never been easier or more abundant. Use it. These are the tasks that guide your purpose. So now we're passionate, we have this passionate foundation, and we have this new, improved skill set. What comes next? Put your words into action. Join a community, join a movement, donate your time or money. Find connectedness. Most importantly, seek empathy with those communities that you serve. Arm yourself with emotions that inform and unite, creating relatability and solidarity. Almost always, empathy is triumphantly unifying. But when people confuse standing in solidarity and having empathy with needing to be the exact same as others, the inevitable lack of connection and fear of failure causes people to shy away from advocacy. But empathy is not relating to someone because you found yourself in a similar fate, but rather recognizing that the decisions you each made leading up to that shared moment came from similar places. Feeling discouraged, feeling lost, feeling hopeful, feeling disheveled. Feelings of anger, tenderness, elation, feeling fear. Feelings are terrifying, but don't let it limit you as you once did by your fear of failure. Failure is one of the greatest educational experiences you can find without looking, and the discomfort you feel is what helps you grow. Don't step back from that fear. Engage with it. Own the discomfort that only makes your story stronger. With honesty comes growth. The more honest you are about what you're uncomfortable about that discomfort, and about what you have yet to do or be, the more you can grow from it. The vulnerability achieved with this level of honesty increases relatability and deepens empathy. This is an iterative process. If you take to the streets and you feel ineffective or afraid, let that strengthen the foundation of your passion, which guides the investment that leads to a more effective skill set, and then try it out again. Take it back to the community. The hardest part of enforcing this action is ensuring that the community you're serving is well tended to. Keep open those lines of communication, and don't get lost in what you think needs to be done without first checking if it is indeed needed. Don't let your passion cloud the reality that living it out, doing what we love, even altruistically, is a privilege. All of this, as everything we do should be, is rooted in gratitude. It is a privilege to be good at something with the resources to be even better. And therefore, we have a responsibility to translate that talent into responsive action. What I've learned most from my impact-driven journey is that while the engineering and language skills I saw and still seek are what allow me to help more people than without them, the technical solution is often the easiest part of solving that problem. There are systems in place for technical solutions and protocols to follow. The challenge, and thus the reward, lies in the humanity of what we do, where respectful relationships are paramount. Throughout this process, people are at the forefront. My host family from the Dominican Republic were the faces in my mind during my undergraduate studies. The engineering students I mentor now are who encourage me to be wiser, smarter, better at systems thinking and holistic solutions. And the children of close friends and family are who inspire me to work for cleaner waterways. I chose water, or maybe it chose me, because it is inherently human, social, and public. Water connects us all and non-selectively gives us life. For this reason, it's really easy to be passionate about water. It is easy to build skills around water. It makes sense to take action for water, and it most certainly is valuable to have gratitude for water. Given the manner with which water connects us all, the same statements can quite easily be made for people. It is easy to be passionate about people and build skills around people. It makes sense to take action for people, and it most certainly is valuable to have gratitude for people. Be it water or people, find your impact that is founded on passion, fueled by talent, enforced by action, rooted in gratitude, and never, ever take that for granted. Thank you.